We finally have some good news for Mercedes. Yes, you heard that right. According to Toto Wolff and Andrew Shovlin, significant changes are on the way much sooner than anyone could have predicted. So what adjustments will Mercedes make in the upcoming Grand Prix to try to solve the problems? And how did the other teams respond to the information? You're in luck, because those are exactly the questions we'll be answering. And if you want to learn more about some of the significant personnel changes that may have contributed to Mercedes' demise over the previous 2 seasons, be sure to watch all the way to the end. It only took until the first qualifying day of the 2023 F1 season for team principal Toto Wolff to declare that the car concept Mercedes had retained for this year was probably an incorrect route and would need to be reconsidered. And Wolff responded in the affirmative when questioned by the media about whether the same applied to the upgrade package Mercedes already had in the works. In the team's post-Bahrain Grand Prix debrief video, the team's trackside engineering director Andrew Shovlin suggested changes that did offer potential games could be imminent, but he supported Wolff's position that the degree of changes that is really required might be a much longer project. He also hinted that the distinctive minimal side pods might be changed for a design that would be more in keeping with the competition. People have tended to use the word concept when they mean the side pod design, and Toto has said recently that we are looking at a revision that is going to come along in the next few races anyway, said Shovlin. Given the gap to the front of the course, we're going to look at bigger departures and more radical changes, but those changes take time to turn into a faster solution in the wind tunnel. You can't do them overnight. There is quite a lot of development that you're going to do around any sort of big change in geometry in that area. Of course, we are looking at where we can improve the car. We are looking for potential to develop, and you will see visible changes coming on the car over the next few races. Mercedes needs to understand what is causing the performance issues. Just because the side pods are different, it doesn't mean that the losses are coming from there. It is much more likely to be located in the interaction of the car's rear end, side pods and underfloor. One thing is clear, the issue is unmistakably aerodynamic. This is because mechanically the Mercedes car is the same as the Aston Martin, which just leaves the airflow coming over the front wing, through the front suspension, down the side pods and under the floor as the problem areas. That's a huge area to cover, and it's not just the case of let's change the side pods. Even changing the side pods can quite often involve a fundamental redesign, as the team will need to move the radiators and mounting points, not to mention the floor shape is somewhat dedicated by the side pods. But what do the team principals and higher-ups of Mercedes' main rivals think of the chances this season? Well, despite the possibility that Mercedes may need to forego short-term gains with its current W14 in order to pursue an alternative design path, opposition is not convinced that the team will stay down for too long. They believe it is far too early to declare Mercedes out of the race, the front based solely on how it performed in Bahrain. Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur said, "It's race 1 and we don't have to make any conclusions. I think that Mercedes will wake up soon. We don't know what will happen next week. The next race will be a different story in Jeddah with a different tarmac. So let's see in Jeddah if we have a better picture." Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko concurs with Vasseur that Mercedes can improve upon its current situation. When asked which team posed the greatest threat to Red Bull, Marko said, "After one race, it's difficult to say. There are still many competitors left. I also believe that Mercedes will become better throughout the season." Red Bull team boss Christian Horner also believes that if Mercedes does switch to a better performing concept, it could make significant gains. "I've been around long enough to see things change so quickly," he said. "I think these cars are still relatively immature, and as teams develop and upgrades come, things will change." Amid talk of Mercedes changing concept, Horner believes that there may be significant convergence towards the downwash side pod solution that his team pioneered and that Aston Martin has also pursued. "I think the operating window of these cars are very narrow, and every team in the top 3 looks like it has developed its own theme," he added. "One team has adopted our theme and made it again, so I guess at one point it is going to converge, and that can happen during a season." With all this talk about a potential comeback from Mercedes team, begs the question, how they got it so wrong to begin with. Well, we think it may have had something to do with the major personnel changes made over the years. So we've compiled the best minds Mercedes has lost that made a huge impact. Let's dive in. The most recent high-profile departure at Mercedes was former chief strategist James Vowles, who Wolff admitted would have had to unseat him as team boss to progress further up the organisation. Instead, Vowles has joined Mercedes power unit customer Williams as team principal, making him one of Wolff's rivals on the track. When Vowles worked for Mercedes, he did more than just sort out the team's race strategy. He was also instrumental in helping to find promising young drivers and formulate corporate strategy. He has been with the team since its inception in 2001, though its BAR, Honda and Braun eras, making him one of the original Brackley boys. While Wolff is confident that the team's revised strategy structure will make up for Vowles' departure, the veteran's insight would have been invaluable through its turbulent time. All things considered, Mercedes power units have been rock-solid reliable over the past couple of seasons. In 2022, the team nearly had a perfect record, but perhaps Lewis Hamilton's early retirement from the Belgian Grand Prix, the team later revealing that contact with Fernando Alonso on the opening lap destroyed his power unit. One of the key figures behind their power unit success was Andy Cowell, who left the team in June 2020. And was succeeded by his deputy Huell Thomas. But while their power units have been the most reliable in the grid, it appears both Honda and Ferrari have overtaken them in performance. Since engine manufacturers can only make adjustments that improve reliability, the switch to E10 fuels in 2022 had a major impact on their planning for that year. It was a worrying sign for a team that had been unbeatable in the hybrid era, but Mercedes engine customers Williams and Aston Martin performed well in Bahrain, suggesting they have gotten back on top of their performance deficit. One of the key players in Mercedes' success during the hybrid era was Aldo Costa, who resigned from his role as engineering director in 2019 to join the Italian chassis manufacturers Dallara. Team boss Toto Wolff described him as a pillar of the team when he left, and although it was done before work on the 2022 regulations began, Costa's reputation suggests he would have been an invaluable mind to tackle the new regulations. Costa is also known for being one of the most successful engineers before his time at Mercedes, having worked at Ferrari during the Schumacher dominance era. He was replaced by John Owen, who currently leads the technical engineering group reporting to Mike Elliott. Owen has been with the team since 2007 when it was Honda, having previously worked at Sauber. It is safe to assume that all the experience Costa took with him would have been extremely helpful in their current circumstance, so that loss may have had a significant influence on how things turned out. Midway through the 2021 season in April, it was announced that James Allison would be moved over to become Chief Technical Officer of the Mercedes AMG Group. Allison's new role meant he stepped away from his position as Technical Director, being replaced by Mike Elliott. Since 2021, Allison's involvement with their F1 operations has been minimal, and he has been the technical lead of Ineos Team UK working on racing boats. But in an attempt to quickly return to competitiveness, Mercedes have now brought Allison back to design the team to oversee upgrades of the W14, so it will be interesting to see how much of an impact his return will have on the car's competitiveness. But what do you think? Does Mercedes have what it takes to get back to the top? If you enjoyed this video, you're going to want to click the video on your screen now. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching.